Let's get interactive. Our phone lines are open. We're about to talk about an issue that is once again resurfacing because so far Nigeria has recorded a little over 1,500 cholera-related cases and 53 deaths have been recorded so far across 31 states and in 107 local governments. And as the rains continue to drop, this is what gives you the recipe for a disaster that is waiting to happen with the floods that were recorded over the past couple of days, not just in Lagos, but in parts of Abuja and other states also. You can understand that this situation is about to take a turn for the worse. Now, one of those preventive measures that have often been touted as key to addressing some of these gaps, especially with contaminations like cholera, which heavily depends on not so safe environments or poor hygiene and sanitation and the likes. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people have yet again re-echoed the need for Nigeria's governments at federal and at state level to do a lot more with regards to sensitization as well as public sanitation of spaces. Some decades ago, this used to be the norm. On a monthly basis or every other Saturday, bi-weekly or bi-monthly, where residents across the country would take turns to clean their environment, which in turn helps us, live much healthier lives. Because with those measures, you can be safe that some of the excesses will be checked in this regard. So the question is with regards to this recent cholera outbreak that has claimed the lives of 53 persons. Do we need to reinforce public sanitations now to a point where we can guarantee some of these safety measures that need to be put in place to address issues like cholera outbreak, for instance, because open defecation has been directly linked with some of the outbreaks that we are dealing with in this country, and this seems to be a recurrent decimal in our polity. So feel free, call in. Let's have your take on this conversation. What do you make of public sanitation? Some of these states have made so many pronouncements over the past couple of years, over the past couple of months, reinstating sanitation days, but the reinforcement seems to be lacking, especially in states that have become prone to outbreaks like this in time past. So what do we need to do about it? Feel free to join the conversation. We'd love to get your take on this. The number is showing on your TV screen. Rules of engagement. Please turn down the volume of your TV set while calling in, and feel free to tell us where you're calling from, your name, and go straight to the point, because we'd love to get your take on this one. And for the most part, the NCDC is telling Nigerians that while it is trying to get ahead of this particular situation, our vaccine stockpile, for instance, is another source of concern, because not just here in Nigeria, but across the continent, those stockpiles are steadily declining, are running out. But also, we all, are very familiar with the saying that prevention is better than cure. So instead of talking about some of the case management techniques or strategies of the government, let's talk about the preventive measures, which starts with environmental sanitation, environmental hygiene, personal hygiene, and the likes, and what we need to do to stop the spread of cholera across different parts of the country. There's also something to do with safety of foods that we consume, whether it's street foods or bottled food commodities, because they said the tiger nut juice in Lagos has been linked to the recent outbreak, and there's a very good chance that most of us, I know for a fact, that I consume some of these locally produced juices that are often being sold by vendors across different parts of the country. So what do we also need to do about those section of the economy that deal with informal businesses that are not particularly well regulated, even though NAFDAC is doing its best to address some of these gaps? So let's have a conversation first and foremost about sanitation, because it is very, very key to talk about that. You go around most of our communities or cities, even here in Abuja or Lagos or Kano or Port Harcourt, or you go to Enugu or any other major city in the country, you would realize that we do have to some degree, concern about sanitation, because there are so many areas you go to and they're not just an eyesore, but they are a health scare, a public health scare, because of the level of poor sanitary conditions in those areas. So let's have a conversation about this one. We'd love to get your take on what government needs to do to reinforce these public sanitation days so that people can actually become actively involved in addressing some of these gaps. Okay, we apparently have our first call and we lost that connection. The network sometimes can be quite tricky, so feel free to try again. The number is shown on your TV screen. Let's get the conversation on the way. Let's speak to our first caller then. Hello, good morning and welcome to the program.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Who is on the line and where are you calling from?
Shetima Yakudima from Maiduguri.
Come again?
Shetima Yakudima from Maiduguri.
Mr. Shetima, as always, it's good to hear from you. How is Maiduguri this morning?
Alhamdulillah, Maiduguri is fine.
Good to hear that. Go ahead, please.
Heavy rainfall yesterday.
Oh, that's good. Go ahead.
Thank you. So the issue of sanitation. Sanitation is fundamental issue, no compromise about it. You see, they say healthy environment, clean environment is a healthy environment. So sanitation, even there is no law that to impose sanitation, is mandatory for individual to clean his environment. Because cleanliness is health. Dirty environment can cause so many illnesses, apart from that cholera. Now it was a rainy season. If you allow grasses to dominate your environment, you will be, you give mosquitoes a hiding place. You yourself and your children, you cannot be escaped from catching malaria all the time. So even there is no government enforcement, is for individual to think rationally and to clean his environment. Here in Maiduguri, we thank God our governor had imposed the sanitation. Every end of the month, we engage in sanitation. So honestly speaking, I think it's good for other governors to impose that sanitation day.
And do you think it's working, Shetima? Do you think the people are buying into the idea of a clean environment for their own well-being?
Honestly, they do their best. You know, in the whole state or in a town, a big town like Maiduguri, some people they will become relaxed. Some they participate, but I believe majority of people participate. And now you see our gutter is a water. It is a pre-water flow. Honestly speaking, right. It's all like before there is a blockage. But now the water is flowing freely.
Right. Shetima, as always, it's good to hear you, your thoughts on some of these issues. Thank you most kindly for calling in. Have a lovely day ahead. Shetima calling in from Maiduguri with his thoughts about what apparently is working for Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State, and how the state government has keyed into the idea of public sanitation days where people take responsibility for the sanitary conditions of their environment. Remember, there's also another saying, cleanliness is next to godliness, and that is something that is true to the very last word. Let's speak to our next caller then. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome to the program. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
My name is Yusuf Suleiman Goro. I'm calling from Asian City of Kano State.
Yusuf from Kano.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Yusuf. How is Kano this morning?
Kano, we are cool and calm.
All right. Interestingly, I drove past Kano yesterday, and as one of those states that usually bears the burden of some of these outbreaks, what is your take on public sanitation and what the government and the people need to do as a matter of public health?
Yes, let me start from the government aspect. the responsibility of putting government in place is to make sure to enforce the law and policies put in place to better the lives of the citizens. But where the problems lies, the failure of government to meet off the basic need of the citizen. That is why the government in most cases don't even have the confidence to enforce the laws, which in most cases is to better the life of the citizens, be it in security or economic or in the health sector. But on the other hand, the people also, you should know that whoever enjoy the better world of the community or where you are living, you are the first benefit of that sanity. So you should not wait for the government to come and enforce or force you to do what is needful. Now, look at the NEMA. They have been singing about the issue of flooding. They will mention some areas within this country that there is possibility flood will come to that areas. But up to now, they are just singing, telling the people. What I expect the government to do is to force these people to evacuate those areas or to put the necessary things in those areas to make sure that the people do not fall victim. We know what we experienced last day and the year before last day. We know the calamity. The farm were washed away. We lost so many lives of the citizens of this country. So the same thing with this outbreak of cholera around the country. I don't expect government to be telling people that you should do this, enforce your law. But in the other hand, when we look at it, we should be sincere to ourselves. The government did not meet up with the basic need, so they don't have that total confidence to enforce their law. The only thing you can see government come in total force is when they want to get what they want to. Look at what is happening in Kano. It's a good example. Look at the deployment of security agencies all over the state. Whenever the court want to decide, you can even start imagining where all the security agencies are coming from. When we have sending insecurity within some communities, where are those people hiding? But when they want to make a judgment about this Kano Emirate issue, you will see the security agencies flood the entire street of the town. That is, I mean, they have a mission to achieve. And we already made our mind. This is our area. This is the person we love. We know his capacity. We know his capability. We know what he can do to our state. He can contribute to better the life of the state. But someone from some people from the higher authority putting their hand at this, what is this? We want these people, this man. So let me not divert from the
right. Exactly. I can understand.
The issue is. I can call on people. We should please take care of our environment. We should not think that because government did not do that, or we should expect government to come and do everything for us. We know before this sanitation is mandatory. If you don't do it, the government sanction you. But now the reverse is the case. I raise my case.
Thank you so much, Yusuf. I appreciate you for calling. Have a lovely day. And as a resident of Kano, or a citizen of this country, I can understand your passion about some of these issues. And also, I think there's something to be said about exactly what Yusuf is pointing out. The lip service is too much. Enough talking, let's get down to the action. And that is what is going to push the needle in the right direction. Let's speak to our next caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to the
TV. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Who is on the line and where are you calling from?
Ade calling from London.
Ade, it's always good to hear from you. Is it safe to say that you don't have to deal with this situation of sanitations because you have a system that actually works in London?
Never ever.
Yeah.
We don't have mosquito. No mosquito here.
Right. I can understand. No cholera too.
No cholera. No.
Yeah. But what are your thoughts about?
If you have malaria
and you come to UK and you tell them you have malaria, they will treat you like somebody who has HIV, they will isolate you.
Right.
They fear malaria. So what I want to say is that our local government, state government, they have a lot of job to do. They should have a mobile toilet and build everywhere, small toilets. Then, so people who are pressed can use it. Then secondly, our Ministry of Health should inspect all those hawkers selling foods, because anybody can cook anything and put it in and sell it to anybody. Nobody queries anybody. So infection comes from these places. Diseases come from there. You don't know how they cook it. You don't know what type of water is it. So our Ministry of Health has a job to do. They should not relax. The toilet is very, very important to be everywhere. If you are going in London now, you feel pressed. You look for nearest McDonald's or shopping center, or you will find one place or the other, you go to the toilet. Some places you pay like 20p to the machine, you use the toilet. Many places are free. So they should have such there in Nigeria. So they build the toilet, either they give it to private people to build, give them small portion of land, they build toilet there, with good sanitation, employ somebody, you pay your money, you use it, and you go. So those hawkers should be banned, because you don't know how they cook their food. And if they don't want to ban them, they should inspect the food. That's why people are suffering, like dying unnecessary death. These are preventable deaths.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. So please, I'm appealing to government, to state government and local government. The federal can play their part, but it's more of a local government. Thank you, Trust TV.
Thank you so much, Ade. I appreciate you for calling as always. I do have a lovely day. And I must say that, his points stand true, because regulation is at the heart of it, especially with the recent outbreak. While open defecation is a significant issue that we really need to address, and you talked about public toilets or paid toilets, and, being on the road the past couple of days, I've, had to use some of those conveniences. And I must say that they're handled in such a good way, some of them actually, because people have to pay to use them. It's equally helping address some of these gaps that exist at the community level. Hello, good morning, and welcome.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Thank you, sir. I'm calling from Jalingo.
Your name, please.
Good morning, sir.
And please turn down the volume of your TV set so we can have a conversation. Your name,
My name
and go
is
ahead.
Joseph Goodluck.
Joseph from Jalingo, please turn down the volume of your TV set and go ahead with your thoughts.
My name is Joseph Goodluck.
Yes, Joseph, go ahead.
Okay, I can say that government can be clearing, gutters and other things. Not only citizens. Citizens too can wash their, sanitize their environment. And government too should join them in clearing gutters and putting things together. Because I'm desperate about this outbreak of cholera.
Yeah, Joseph, very, very good point that you had to point out there, and I really appreciate you for stressing that out. When it comes to waste management or refuse disposal systems in Nigeria, there are some cities that are able to get it correctly, especially in urban centers, where you have this collection system that works. The collection truck comes in and picks it up. However, in some areas, they don't have a disposal site, and they don't also have a collection system. So you have this huge eyesore in the middle of a community that is, a recipe for disaster. Let's speak to our next caller then. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right, call back. Feel free to call back. The number is shown on your TV screen. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Daybreak Interactive. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Ibrahim Hadi from Taraba State.
Ibrahim Hadi from Taraba, right?
Yes, Ibrahim Zaharaddin.
Ibrahim Zaharaddin. Go ahead, please, Ibrahim.
It's very interesting to see this topic for today, asking for whether it's good to impose mandatory sanitation. Are we speaking somehow neutral? Because looking at the situation of this country now, to say a person should get clean water for himself is very hard. the government have more responsibilities to carry. That's responsibilities of the people, in the sense that government is responsible to provide all these necessary treatment material. That is from the federal government, state government, and local government.
Yeah. So you're just talking about basic amenities, Ibrahim, or is there something specific that you're talking about?
Yes. To provide all those social amenities. You see, all this what is causing this cholera is lack of unhealthy food, unhealthy water, and our relationship with people. That our hands can be contaminated with germ. So talking about unhealthy food and unhealthy water, some people now in Nigeria they only depend on those unhealthy food they get from the street. They cannot go anywhere and get food. So you see, government here have more responsibility than even the people. Our health is our wealth. We know our health is our wealth. Some people may take the responsibility of their health to see that they are free from cholera, while others cannot. You see, like people on the streets, they cannot do all these things. So government have to look upon. It's not only imposing mandatory sanitation, even though they will sanction. It's not only that, but they should make sure that everything is kept in order, in the sense that they will help both from the federal, state, and local government.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ibrahim Zaruddin. Thank you so much for making this contribution. I appreciate you for calling in. And he's true. He's right to say that, bulk of the situation is because of government's ineptitude to address some of these gaps. Portable drinking water, for instance. How many communities, how many cities can we actually say government has been able to provide portable drinking water to residents in those areas? So it exposes a lot of people to unhealthy, drinking water or unsafe drinking water, where for the most part people rely on truck pushers to deliver some of the water that they use for their cooking, for their bathing, for their drink every now and then, and that in itself is not the best way forward. There's also the issue of unregulated practices, especially with food vendors, for instance. We expect the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Health to be on top of the situation at local and at state level to address some of these gaps so that we can prevent the preventable. Let's speak to our next caller then. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome to the program. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Abdullahi Solomon Ibrahim. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
So you're going to have to come again. I beg your pardon, I didn't hear the name.
Okay, my name is Agabi Solomon Ibrahim. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Agabi Solomon Ibrahim, calling from Port Harcourt. Good morning, Agabi. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to really say it's so pathetic because most of our politicians today have resulted in producing water, having factories. So the cholera outbreak is born out of greed because most of the pure water factories are really substandard. They don't meet up to the requirements. And when regulatory bodies want to even approach them, you find out that maybe it belongs to a House of Assembly member, a senator, or something. But in those days while growing up, we could understand that the water board system was functional in Nigeria during the military era, and lots of things like these were curtailed. But now the government don't care about it because everybody is Oliver asked for more. Everybody is thinking on reaching himself and making money for himself. But I would really advise the government to go back to the status quo, looking at the slaughterhouses and the community health workers, really watching them, employing them to do more. Go to the slaughterhouses, sanitize them, our waste management system, the drainage system. Because if you look at drainage systems in Nigeria, they're very poor. And it's a two-way traffic. The people need to wake up to their responsibility. Like the communities also need to put in more effort in collecting waste and aiding the government in keeping them in a safe place for the government to try to dispose it appropriately. Thank you very much.
Agabi, I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for articulating your thoughts in this manner. I appreciate you for calling in. Do have a lovely day ahead. Yes, another perfect contribution in terms of highlighting the gaps that exist within the system itself. The lack of commitment is quite telling, looking at how year on year we continue to deal with these outbreaks almost as if they are starting anew. Let's speak to our next caller then. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Daybreak Interactive. Who is on the line and where are you calling from?
This is Reverend Sarki Simon, all the way from Bauchi.
Reverend Saki from Bauchi, right?
Yes,
right.
sir.
Go ahead. Which part of Bauchi, if you don't mind me asking?
Father Bauchi. I live within the Bauchi metropolis.
Okay, Bauchi, the capital city. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Wow, the topic at hand is very, very important, looking at what Nigeria is passing through. And the need for personal hygiene is very, very important, sir. And the question is, to my own advice, it should be mandatory. It should be mandatory in Nigeria. If you go to some quarters in Nigeria, looking at all the gutters there, sir, there are certain places you cannot even leave your nose open.
Yeah.
So for us to be able to eradicate cholera, and for the sake of our children that are in school, this should be mandatory in every sector, every corner, every school, in order to put an end to this pandemic. So I pray that a government will not relent in putting all measures on ground in order to make sure that our children at school are living in safety.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Reverend. I appreciate you for making the call. And he's right. You get a sense of this laissez-faire attitude from some communities where the dirt is literally there and there's an acceptance that we can live with this filth and we can just step over and go on with our lives. But when there's an outbreak, we claim ignorance of how our actions or inactions have contributed to the current situation. Our next caller is on the line. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
Thank you for having me. My name is Aisha from Lokoja.
Aisha from Lokoja. How is Lokoja this morning?
Lokoja is good.
Good to hear from you, Aisha. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. The issue outbreak of I think is from local government. I remember in those days there used to inspectors going about to confirm cleanliness.
Right.
Toilets, water, foods that are being sold and all those things. They check on all those things to make sure that whatever anybody is bringing out to the society will not be harmful to the health of the end users. But it's unfortunate now everybody has folded his
receiving farm inputs
Nobody's doing
from
anything,
the state government.
especially local government.
According to them,
that's
the
their
provision
duty.
of fertilizers and
You
extension
find that our
workers.
local government, they are all dead.
Yes, Aisha, go ahead.
Okay, local governments are dead. They don't work. And I believe when they do this thing, there will be more revenue to the local government. So I think they should wake up to their why the state will assist, federal government will assist wherever they needed assistance. Like the earlier caller was saying, public toilets and all those things. Those things should be available.
Yeah, and I quite agree with you, Aisha. I think this is a local government problem. Yeah.
Thank you. It is. It's local government.
Yeah, thank you.
They need to do something.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Aisha, for stressing this point. And it brings us back to the conversation about local government autonomy. And it's instructive that most people, who are older in their late 30s or, early 40s or in their 50s are, juxtaposing the two various situations with the military rule and how the system was relatively functional. And now, with all of these powers that we have democratically, we're unable to keep our society in a seemingly organized manner. And it's really, really unfortunate. If the local governments are functioning optimally, this is normally supposed to be well within their purview to address some of these gaps, because these are local problems or challenges that can be addressed with the needed political will, with, of course, adequate resources, planning, enlightenment, sensitization campaigns, and so on and so forth. So as one of our callers did say, it's a two-way traffic, right? The government has to pull its weight, do the needful as a regulator and as the organizer of the society, do the needful, make sure that there are no gaps when it comes to waste management, disposal systems that we need to address some of the gaps that currently exist. And as a people, we need to wake up to the reality that this cholera outbreak, like the ones we've had in the past, is a reaction or the outcome of our actions and inactions when it comes to personal hygiene, when it comes to environmental management, and so on and so forth. So thank you to all of our callers this morning for making valid contributions to the issue, and hopefully other viewers will take note of how they, in their own little way, can buy into the idea of a cleaner, safer environment so that we can prevent the preventable. Thank you most kindly for joining the conversation today.